the day I told my
Science.
the day my dad found out that I wasn't going to do medicine, apparently he didn't sleep all night.
Next time around.
What career are you doing now? What did you study? Are you doing what you studied? Let us know.
Do you even like
You know?
what you studied? Do you want to continue? Would you switch careers now? How old are you? Maybe we can switch together.
How
Because I'm also
many how
working.
many of you are doing what mommy and daddy said you should do?
You guys are so
Clearly,
dude.
we all
This is such a
clearly we all
Debbie
did it.
Downer line of questioning.
Welcome everyone to Thought Culture. Now, this is a new platform that we are going to express our same views on different topics, same
Yeah.
way, but a new platform. So, welcome, and still the same team. You know, there's Biola, the cool one. There's Ayo, the contrarian,
Who
and there's
called you the cool
Demi.
one
You
though?
know,
Who called you the cool one? Like, please don't give
I
yourself a
have been
title.
told. I have been told.
Oh my
Who
god.
told
Okay,
you? That's what you're
am I?
asking.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong?
Yes.
No, I
Yes.
want me to mention names.
You said yes.
Yes.
No,
Yes. Name call
I'm not
now.
mentioning
If you are that
names.
confident about
No, no,
your callers, just
Anyway,
because you
no.
gave yourself
The
a
issue
name,
is
how you
this:
drive it.
is it wrong? Is it wrong?
Yes. How many
Ayo
times
said
did I
If it's
say
wrong,
yes.
it's
yes?
fine.
Aren't you listening to Ayo? He
Okay.
said yes, it's
Yes.
wrong.
It's like it's in the
Unfortunately, a lot of the things I just say just sounds like noise in my ears. It's not my fault.
it's
I'm
fine.
programmed that way.
It's fine.
Ooh.
So,
It
First,
can be noise,
so
but now just know the answer is yes. You're not the cool one. There you go.
okay.
fair one. Fair enough.
Anyway,
Fair enough. Fair
moving
enough.
on, guys. So it's our new podcast. Guys, please subscribe, like, share with your friends, post the link everywhere.
Yes. Yes.
We have a different energy. Like this time around, we're not just doing like boring stuff. We're gonna be talking about stuff that is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
relatable to any and everybody. So we want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
So don't forget to put in your comments and everything else in the podcast. So
Let
yeah,
us
looking
know how
forward
you
to it.
feel about this new to take. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So today, we are going. Okay, first and foremost, how are we all
Yeah.
doing though? Like, it's been a minute. Are we
Uh,
good? Are we okay?
should I go first? Because I'm not good.
How's
I am not good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What
I
happened to
am
you?
currently reeling. And I know this might not concern a lot of people because Dami has already shamed me for it, and I don't know why. Just because you should always care for the people that you are working with, the people that are your
What are
friends,
you talking?
even if they
Oh
are
my
going
god!
through a tough time.
get to the
My
lamentation quickly?
my team
Please.
traded Luka Doncic this morning. Um,
Uh-huh.
honestly, I do not know how to explain it. I'm currently going through the 5 stages of grief. I was angry. I was in
Do
denial.
you guys
I
get
thought it was a
shares?
joke.
Do you get dividends when players are traded? Like, I don't understand how you're so affected that you
It's
can't sleep.
it is emotional shares. I am emotionally invested. I started watching basketball because of this player, and now I can't watch the team that I was watching. When your team has invested in a player because it's your best player you built around him, and now you just traded him, and you don't know what to do with yourself. It's weird. But anyways, yeah. So that's what I have been going through. It's been very
Okay, don't
painful.
worry. The Lord is your strength. We pray
Now
for
I
How
have
you.
to
was
support the Lakers. I have to support the
Bella? How
guys. I
was
love
your
the
week?
Lakers.
I can't. This lamentation is going on for 35 chapters. How was your week? Sorry, Ayo.
Week was okay.
Sorry.
If I was to first, I guess I know I'm the tennis guy, and my tennis is very rusty currently because I haven't played in a while. So
Mm,
Ah,
I
so
played
sad.
yesterday, and yeah, I'm rusty, but I'll get it back. So it's
Oh
fine.
no.
that's cool.
Oh no. Oh no. Where
That's
are you
cool.
gonna
And
get it back
Demi,
from?
any
I had a bit of a busy week because I don't know, as you guys might be aware, the U.S. president is threatening sanctions against Canada. Well, he's not
Wait,
sanctions,
hasn't it already been done?
tariffs. Yeah, he did it yesterday, but
tariffs?
before he did it, the whole week was
Oh yeah.
me basically doing like a lot of like policy briefings on what like for the industry I work in and like, sort of doing some analysis
Okay,
on what
the
approaches.
effects and
Yeah,
all
so it was
that.
quite hectic. It
Okay.
was a bit busy, but I had fun. I played some VR games.
What?
There's this,
You
yeah, there's
VR
this
gaming?
game.
Nah, man. This
Yeah, I
is the
have a
influence
VR
of Bo right
headset.
here. This is the
Yeah,
influence of Bo. That's what I'm saying.
I
This is that
I
Daniel
have
that
a
we
VR.
met
So
before.
there's this game called Cookout where you make sandwiches as a team and you basically get orders and you have to make them within a
So
limited time. And that was
essentially,
the
you are
game I was
making a
playing.
cheese platter virtually.
Yeah, it was
That's
quite
what you are
fun.
doing.
But
Okay,
yeah, that
I
was that was my week. So yeah, it was busy, but kind of glad that it ended because I was eager for
I
Friday.
would actually consider getting a VR headset, eh?
Please
Like,
do. It's so great. It's so good.
anyways,
Like, yeah.
I already made that decision. That ship sailed. That ship has sailed. I picked a
you bought a
console over a
PlayStation 5
VR
instead.
headset.
You bought a PlayStation
So
5 instead.
No, you decided to get
that
one
ship
or
has
not?
sailed.
No,
No,
wait. You
you bought a
decided to get
PlayStation
one or
5
not?
So
instead.
it was either
Oh,
PlayStation 5 or VR headset, and I picked
oh.
PlayStation 5. So
Well, you can still get a Quest 3S or something.
Quest is not that expensive and it doesn't need as much setup
yeah.
to do.
Yeah, that's the
Look
one I
at us
have. I
advertising
have a
Facebook
three.
for free. Mark,
Oh yeah,
come
like
here, come here,
scrap
come
that.
pay.
Let's move on to what we're talking about today, guys.
Today we're talking about career, and it's gonna be a series, but like as you guys watch, you will see basically what we're gonna be doing about how there's a change in what we're still doing. But we're talking about career and basically now for all of us, we all studied the same well, not it's not exactly the same course, but the same field, which is engineering. So
Yeah.
we're gonna like tell you why did we pick engineering, right? And then we also did some tests to find out what, based on our, I guess, your answers, what should you actually have picked? Does it align with what you picked? And then we'll just go into all that.
So engineering, right? How I ended up in engineering. So for
By
me,
mistake.
I did not. Yeah, to be honest, I consider it a mistake now that I look back, but
Okay.
but
Okay.
not one
Okay.
that I regret, if I can put it that way.
Ooh,
So
that's an
I did
interesting
That's
not.
answer.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't regret it. I did not set out to study engineering. When I was younger, my dad was very much like, I want a child who's going to be a doctor. Nigerian parents, they want you to either be a
Currently,
doctor
my sister is going
or,
through that.
yeah, or a lawyer or something. And that's a lot of pressure on a child. And I think my dad was just really like, I want a child who's going to be a doctor. So he used to, I guess, bombard me with science messaging. Where it was like, for example, I always remember there was an afternoon I got home, or it was in the evening, and he said, Demi, come and stand beside this wall. So I stood beside the wall at night, in the evening, and I could feel like this column of heat coming from the wall. And he's like, what is that type of heat conduction called? Where is the heat coming from? Like that was my dad. Or he would
Interesting.
hang a picture
Okay.
in the house and say, "Can you see an error in how straight it is?" Because he wanted to teach me error of parallax. That was my dad. So I had a lot of science messaging that was like just always sent to me, and I had
Okay.
this thing that I was going to study.
Subliminally.
Exactly, like it wasn't even subliminal. It was overt. Like it was
Very,
very
it was
clear.
very blurred. Yeah, there was no soft. It
Like
was oblique.
yeah, it was like very clear. There was nothing subliminal about it. So when I went to South Africa, the plan was I would study medicine, and I applied to UCT to study medicine, only for them to write back and say you can't study medicine if you're a foreign student. So that was the first time I learned that, oh, this dream. And then I was living in South Africa by myself. I was 16. I didn't like, what do you do after that? So I eventually got
Yeah.
into Stellenbosch. And I think because they said I couldn't study medicine, I became confused on what exactly I was good at. Because all my life
Okay.
I had been told like science was the only thing I was
That's
good
all
at.
you're at. Yeah.
Yeah, and I missed two Qs in my matric, like my high school results. I did so well in business economics, and I did really well in geography, and I did really well in another subject that was like an arts and humanities stuff. But there was this sense of you have to study medicine. So I got into Stellenbosch.
Science.
I was put in sports science because again, I just wasn't clear on what I was doing. I did sports science for a year. I did some sociology, psychology, but
This is
Stellenbosch
nice
wasn't
though. Like who's paying for all of these fees? I'm just saying
my
as a Nigerian
parents.
parent. there.
My
They
parents
loved
didn't
you.
know. No, they were not clear on what
They
was
didn't
happening
know.
either. Because
They
remember,
were
I
just
was
getting
not at
fees.
home. I was not at home. They were basically just getting the bill to say this is what you owe from the university. I was not living
and
at home. I was
and
And
living
they
they're
by
did not
like,
ask
myself.
for.
are you
And they
doing?
didn't even ask for
Are you
results.
passing?
I
They didn't
told them
even
I
ask
Yes.
was
for
doing
results.
I told them I was doing sports science, but I think to my dad, the fact that it was science and it had anatomy and
Science
physiology, it was still a pathway to medicine as far as
to
he was
medicine.
concerned.
That is
Do
like
you
anything that has science in it. Like, go
do
find.
you understand? Like he really wanted a sciencey child. So
Child, yeah.
I did psychology, sociology, but those courses were taught in Afrikaans. So I didn't really grasp what I think if I had grasped at that time would have changed my direction. Do you get what I mean? Like
Okay.
So
I was
especially
still
South Africans' insistence on like the language, especially the language barrier and the cultural barrier, it's really led you down to where you are today. But
in a
anyways,
way,
continue.
like it made things very difficult for me because I struggled in undergrad. I didn't like it was a different environment. But anyway, so after
Mm.
1 year in sports science, I transferred into biotechnology. And the reason I did that was because I met this um man who was like in the engineering field and was talking about how biotech is a merging of science and engineering. And I was like, well, if I can't get into medicine, engineering is the second best thing for a Nigerian parent, if you guys recall.
For
You're a
Nigeria.
doctor,
Definitely,
do you understand? So I was like,
definitely,
okay,
yes.
if I because I knew I couldn't get into the engineering program in Stellenbosch, but she was very competitive and it was also Afrikaans. And I felt like studying that in Afrikaans would be harder than studying
Ah,
something that was like sciencey, like just
science.
pure science based that I already understood the basics of. So I did biotech. And then in my final year of biotech, the professors were talking about how they were designing reactors to make biofuels. And they were manipulating yeast strains and all of that. So I took that project, and it was the most difficult project in the whole group because we were a group of 11 that did honors in that department. I took on the project because I was like, oh, this might be my way to now get into engineering fully.
To engineering.
So that was my journey. So I did that. And from there, I ended up doing a master's in environmental engineering. Except the university was like, because you have a biotech background, we're not going to call your degree environmental engineering, we'll call it environmental technology. So that was what I got. Environmental technology. It was a master's of applied science in environmental technology. I got that and I graduated with a distinction because by then I had already, from my last year in undergrad, learning how to set up a reactor, learning all the design and
Yeah,
everything.
that gives
I
you, yeah, an
yeah, it had
edge.
exactly, it had given me like a basic understanding. So I understood like the chemistry part of engineering because I did chemistry. I understood like if you're trying to manipulate a biological process, the models that you could use. So I can't say I fully studied undergrad engineering, but by the time I got to masters, I got it. Like I was like, okay, I get what I'm doing. And then I went on and did a PhD in engineering. But by the time I was finishing my PhD, it became very clear to me that I was not supposed to be in engineering. So, as to answer your question,
PhD does that a lot to a lot of people. Not gonna
yeah,
lie.
like I feel like it's an eye opener. I realized like I should not have gone this far. Like I climbed the ladder a bit too long. I should have left. Especially because after I finished my masters, I worked in a consultancy that we used to like take on projects for the government, and I was more of a engineering slash policy officer. And I started to see the other
Okay.
side of it, right? Like the non-technical side of it, the decision making part, how do you plan strategies and all that. And I
Yeah,
enjoyed that much more than I enjoyed being in the lab.
the
Like
technical part.
yeah, like when it comes to engineering, I'm happy, but I'm happy to design and experiment. But when your experiments are failing and you have to keep
Ah,
going back, that was just like, oh, for how long? The stress of it. So, anyway, to answer your question, that's how I got into engineering. I think it was just a
To
matter of
engineering.
using what was available to me as a 16-year-old and making what I thought was the best decision every
you
time
went
I
to
came
university
to a
at
And
16.
sending bills to your parents that they did not know. They're just
well,
paying
I mean, they were happy to see science. The day I told my
science.
the day my dad found out that I wasn't going to do medicine, apparently he didn't sleep all night.
Ah,
Yeah,
that was how
Hmm.
I felt about Luca.
he
Anyways,
did
jokes
not.
aside.
He did not sleep
Um,
at all. But yeah, that's my story. So yeah, how did
Okay.
you guys get into
Cool.
engineering?
Okay, so for me, my mom wanted me to be a doctor. Like, so my mom was a pharmacist, and
Mm.
the only reason why she studied pharmacy was because if I remember the story correctly, an uncle told her mom that, or her uncle told her mom that she couldn't do medicine, that women don't do medicine
ah,
when she was filling the jam form. It's a long story, but that's so she then went for pharmacy.
so you,
Like she was
we,
forced to
we
do
could have all
pharmacy.
been richer. Life, ne?
So it
Finish.
was kind of a I didn't do medicine, but you can like do it for me kind of thing. So my mom worked
Mm.
in the hospital, and from the very beginning I hated just being at my mom's office. The smell of the drugs, the blood,
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't for me, right? But she
Mm.
tried
But
to
you
push
didn't
me.
say nothing.
Doctors don't look for
But you didn't
work.
say nothing.
Once you're a doctor, your life is set.
Mm.
Sorry. Anyway, so now in high school, I kind of figured out that like I was analytical. So I was like, it's either engineering or accounting.
Mm.
From like maybe from 13, 14, I kind of figured that I'm either going to be an engineer or an accountant. However, why did I then select engineering? I tried to do in high school, I tried to do the courses for both engineering and accounting. But my school accounting, which is weird in Nigeria, accounting is seen as an art course.
Yeah, it is. It's not seen
Wow.
as an analytical thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So to do the classes was very difficult because it was
Mm-hmm.
clashing with your chemistries and all that. But I still tried to manage it. But what tilted it for me was this. I then thought about it like, do I want to do a job where I'm wearing a tie every day, wearing a suit every day? I was like, no, that's not what I want. This was, yeah,
Yeah.
14, 15. I was like, I don't want that for my life. I hate
Imagine
wearing
choosing
ties. I
career
hate.
over
So I was
because of
like,
You
time.
were you were a
and I
hoodie
was
lover
like,
from the start.
shorts, hoodies, jeans. So I was like, but as an engineer, you can do that because you're on site, you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why I picked engineering eventually. And then my mom eventually agreed, fine, engineer, it's okay, go. Right. And
Okay.
then I did engineering. So my plan was to do electrical engineering, but I didn't
Mm.
get in for electrical engineering. I got in for
Okay.
metallurgical engineering. So the plan
Oh.
was, hey, go into metallurgical engineering and then you will switch to electrical
Switch.
engineering, right? So my
Yeah.
first year, I my plan was, hey, I'm going to go to electrical engineering. This metallurgical material engineering is just my way in, right? So I
Mm.
did everything. I passed well. My first year was actually good. Then I tried to move to electrical, and metallurgical is like, no. Why would we allow one of our best students to go to electrical?
You should have failed.
Electrical is like, sure. Electrical is like, sure, we can have you, but like metallurgical is like, no. So I'm like,
Mm.
so that kind of just made me kind of switch off a bit. But I was like, I was just going through the motions anyway. Then I finished, then I did my master's, and let's not go into what I'm doing now, but I'm not doing engineering now. You don't regret it, but
Mm.
there was two words you used. You don't regret it, but you wish you didn't. No,
I
no, not that
consider
you
it
wish you
was a
didn't do it. You
mistake.
wish you didn't go
I
that
consider
far.
it a
A
mistake.
waste mistake, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't consider doing engineering a mistake. I
Mm.
think it sharpened my analytical mindset. I
Mm.
think it's going through engineering has made me feel like I can tackle anything technical. I can
Yeah.
apply the skills that I got from school to anything, and I can like at least I'll be above, at least I'll be average at the very least. So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah. No,
that's my engineering, at least me being an engineering story.
I think we have the exact same sentiment. So when I say I consider it a mistake, I consider it a mistake in the sense that it wasn't the end point eventually, right? Like it was not if I if I had studied something else, my career path would have been smoother. perhaps. So going
Okay.
the engineering route was probably me taking the scenic route, but I don't regret it because of exactly what you said, that I have all of these skills that make me even much better at what I do now, which is not engineering at all. I mean, now I work in an engineering type sector, but I don't do the engineering. But it's still great because I
Engineering.
understand a lot of what people are talking about, and I can recall some things that I've learned. And, when I look at a design, I can be like, oh, this is interesting and all that jazz. So, yeah, for that reason, I don't regret it.
All that
But was
jazz.
it for but was it the right choice in terms of, like, when I think back to what I was, like, my skills and everything? I was good at it. I was good at it, but
Yeah.
maybe I would have been better at something else. I don't know. Anyway, Ayo, what's your story? Tell us, please.
My story, I started from when I was in the womb, but ultimately, let's stick to what really matters here. It was when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and all of the kids in my class, they had to pick what we should all do, right? In school. Actually, not in school, it was at home. All of the kids are, because we live in a complex with other people, right? So all of the kids in that complex, they were all selecting, I want to be a doctor, I'm going to be a doctor. And let me start, there's only three choices growing up. Don't let us lie to each other. Any other place that do not go that three choices, it's either you failed extremely at those three choices and you ended up somewhere else. But there were only three choices. There's either you are a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
engineer, or lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay, these two rank in the same way, but this one ranks is like the tip of the diamond, or the tip of the arrow. All right. So that's the first thing, right? So, anyways, I did not like the fact that everybody wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to do something separate from everybody. I've always been somebody who like to pursue something that is not exactly general
Mr.
purpose.
Contrarian.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, contrarian
I did,
since birth. Wow. Okay. Now
From
we
the
know.
womb.
We'll
I
tolerate you better. From the
leave people
womb.
done.
Yeah, we are.
You're like,
Anyways,
others
uh,
come with their head. Let me come with my legs. Is that what?
Mr. Engineering
Yes.
reject,
Sorry.
Mr.
Oh.
Electrical reject. Anyways, as I was saying,
Sorry.
thank you very much. As I was saying, so after I picked the engineering by in the playground, I thought about it like Nigeria had a lot of oil, so I was like, let's go make money, baby. So I picked chemical engineering because
Ayo
ultimately,
was
right,
a hustler
from
as a
chemical,
child as well.
hey man, from chemical you
A
switch to
contrarian hustler.
petroleum. From chemical you switch to petroleum. I like, bam, money arrive. So guess what? I selected it. I thought I was going to end up in Port Elizabeth one day. All right, I will be there myself, pouring the oil. As I'm pouring it, to be turning it into money in my bank account. Before we know it, I'm in South Africa. Before we know it, I was still pursuing that dream. Oh. I was like, even when I finish here, I'm going back home to go solve our our oil issue.
Hmm. So what
Let
happened?
me tell you. Uh, yeah, uh, there's no specialization on oil because guess what?
Mhm.
One thing people should understand is that where you are essentially determines what you learn based on what people need where you are.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
one of the very important things.
Yeah.
As much as you are learning, as the resources, the culture, and the people dictate what is needed in that land, hence dictate the education path that you will ultimately learn.
Yeah, for
So
that.
when I
That's
got here, and people do not
that's
have.
ideal, of course.
Hmm.
It is
Because
correct. It's not bad. It's
no,
just
no,
that
no,
in
no, no, no.
places,
It's not you. I'm saying there are some places that they are still studying things that don't apply to the environment they're in. But let's not go into why Nigeria
actually,
is
I
full
think that's
of
general. I
engineering.
think the whole syllabus system, the whole educational system, it's messed up in that way. But that's not the focus of this discussion. But
Mm.
anyways, ultimately I got there. All right. As I was doing this stuff, I
So
remember my
wait,
first one.
sorry, you got in for chemical engineering, right?
Okay, let me explain my pathway because I feel like it can be very confusing. So I moved to South Africa when I was still in high school. I think I was in grade 10, technically speaking. No, grade 10?
Okay.
Yeah. Technically, no, grade 9 or grade 10, technically speaking. When I was in Nigeria, then I moved to SC. I started in grade 10. Anyways, I UJ came to visit my school. They gave me the whole speech, the whole syllabus, everything, took it home. My dad is like, never, you will never go to Johannesburg. Do you know what they do to people in Johannesburg? I was like, okay, fair.
What were they doing to people in Johannesburg? Now I'm curious. We should invite your dad.
Drugs,
We should
Nigerians,
invite your
drugs,
dad to the podcast to tell us what they were doing to people in Johannesburg.
drugs, Nigerians, all of this. He was more comfortable with me going to Pretoria than Johannesburg because he lived in Pretoria. He didn't live in Johannesburg when he first arrived there. This, we were in Limpopo. Anyways, back, so fast forward, I went to UNISA. I was studying engineering in UNISA, chemical engineering in
Like
UNISA.
long distance engineering.
You see
Oh,
where I
that
messed up.
explains the
You see where I
story.
messed up.
Because UNISA
Actually,
is not in person, right?
let me be honest. Let me
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was 17 when I left high school, I think. Anyways, I started actually, I started doing
See, I think.
mathematics, actually. I started in
Hmm.
mathematics. Um,
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't try because well, there was no teacher to ask me for homework. And still in UNISA, by the way. So I switched to chemical engineering, and I was doing that one very well. The biggest issue was um, my practicals were in another city, and by city I mean in another province entirely. Whereas the practicals and the exam are very close to each other. So by the time I was due for my exam, I was still doing practicals in another city, and my exam is in another city. So I couldn't. So after that, I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm going. So they allowed me finally to go to uh, Johannesburg,
Logic.
University of Johannesburg, right?
Hmm.
When I ultimately decided to apply for University of Johannesburg, it was too late. So I couldn't get into chemical engineering. I had to go to electrical. Guess who was not rejected, baby? Guess who they accepted? Not Biola. Anyways,
Why are you like this? So you
who
got
knows?
into electrical and then
Funny story. I didn't actually get into electrical. I get into foundational electrical. But that's a long story for another day. We're not touching on that. The first day of school,
After
me,
after
I
throwing
went,
jabs, it's now foundational
sure, sure,
electrical.
sure, sure. This is not your part. This is my story. I went first day
Continue,
of school. I
continue.
went to class looking for. I went to class with the timetable that I had. We didn't see anybody in class, so we went down. I met somebody else. I met my best friend, by the way. I met somebody else. We both decided to go harass the HOD of chemical. We're like, hey, bruh, see, it was a woman, and she was beautiful, by the way, black beautiful woman. We're like, hey, how come there's nobody in your class? Firstly, it's even the wrong department. We went to chemistry, not chemical engineering. We were like, how come there's nobody in your class? Look at the timetable. There's supposed to be people in your class. It's like, sorry guys, what is this part?
so you guys didn't even know where
Electrical.
you were going. Did you go for orientation?
No, no. Our orientation was actually the next week, not particular week.
Not
But the
the
bigger
week
issue
class
is that,
started.
again, be patient. Let me get to the story. The biggest issue is that Paula did my application. Paula did my application, and for my friend Scott, his nephew cousin did his application. He's from Congo.
Okay.
He was French. He was doing English here while they were. So his friend did his application for him. So we both went to go harass a simple HOD that had nothing to do with us about why is there people not in your class. Turns out that our class was starting 2 weeks later, and and the orientation was next week, and then the class will be the week after, right? So we just came to school for no reason. But anyways, it's fine. Met my best friend there, so it wasn't a waste. Um, fast forward to we both like we don't want to
This is the
do
most
electrical.
chaotic story. Okay.
I know we like we don't want to do electrical, right? So we went to the HOD of chemical engineering now, not applied chemistry, which was the first one we
Wait,
went to.
wait, wait,
We're
wait,
like,
wait.
bruh,
Question. Why did you decide you don't want to do electrical engineering?
Yeah,
Like
that's a
what?
good question.
firstly, okay, so firstly, we just didn't want to do electrical engineering. But the thing that really solidified our decision was how boring that stuff was. We had a teacher, ne? We had a teacher, and we're not even making this up. People were watching, eh, let me use the word OnlyFans, but it wasn't really OnlyFans, it was the more popular mainstream one in his classroom. And they were not even using headphones. They were not using headphones. And this man was just talking. The people
Yeah.
in the front row
What was
were
he supposed
sleeping.
to do? What was he supposed
The
to
people
do?
in the front row were sleeping. Do you understand how boring you are? For people to be sleeping in your class and for you not even to say a word.
That is
And the
not
people
your
at the back are
business.
washing
Like,
stuff.
wait, sorry to cut you off. Let me tell you a story. During my master's, when I was trying to learn how to use this one platform for modeling, our professor put all of us in a room, and our professor speaks really slowly. So I fell asleep. I woke up to see that every other person was sleeping, and this man was still talking in front. So I was
That
like,
is a
Prof,
bad lecturer.
wait, no, wait. I said, Prof, everybody is sleeping. He said, yes, I'm aware, but as far as I'm concerned, I've taught you. So
Yes,
it's on
he
you.
does knowledge.
Let's
Is
go
Nigeria
back
putting out these days? But anyways, it's fine. That's
back to your
let me
story.
just
So you didn't
back
do
to the story.
electrical engineering because it was boring, and then
So
you went to
because
the
the
HOD of
the
chemical.
class was boring.
So we went to
Yeah.
so a bunch of us. It was actually like 4 or 5 of us. We went to the HOD of in the chemistry department. We're like, hey, bruh, we want to switch. What do you say? He was like, fine, you can switch, but then you will need like IMAX because now you'll be considered like you won't be considered over the people that are entering for the first time. We're like,
Mm,
sure, bruh. We all got a distinction. We all switched. First year, the only time I actually thought I was closest to petroleum was when we did a test in I think first or second year, and they did the when you take when you take crude oil right
mm-hmm.
from the ground up after you and now you are separating it
Yeah.
using the different process and you are
Fruit.
getting the
Yeah.
different end
Distillation.
products.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's not simply
Fractional
distillation because some of them are
distillation.
different. But the
Mm.
idea is there is
Um,
a roadmap to getting all of the side products, your tart, your diesel, your
Yeah.
whatever the case might be.
yeah.
Blah blah blah. So that was the closest I ever felt to chemical to my dream, petroleum engineering. Up to today, I'm still I it's a long story. But anyways, I
So you
It's
studied
achieved
okay.
chemical
It's okay.
engineering?
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
yes. And then I did my honors and then I did my masters. Now I am pursuing a new goal in life because clearly the money is not going to come through petroleum because they've denied my dreams. And I'm not going back 4 years to go learn petroleum engineering, something that people are trying to move away from. I'm not doing it. Screw that. I am going towards sustainability.
Wait.
If anybody,
Okay, wait. Before you go into that, I had a cue question that you're already answering, which is, are you satisfied or are you happy that you studied engineering? And I feel like Biola and I have
okay,
some
let me
in
answer.
some way have
Let me
learned
answer
on
this.
this. Yeah.
Uh, I am not happy. I will be honest. Not like I'm not happy with engineering. I'm not happy with my engineering.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
get
I'm not
you.
happy with my
Yeah.
engineering. I am happy with engineering, but I'm not happy with my engineering. I would have
Mm.
preferred to do something more like industrial engineering or something
Mm.
more like mechanical engineering. Chemical engineering
Mm.
is very limited in a way because essentially what you're doing is you are taking whatever people build in the lab and you're trying to mass produce it.
Yeah.
And that is not bad. It's just not very applicable. It's applicable in very specific niches areas,
Mm-hmm.
but
It's
it's
not,
not
yeah,
like
you can't scale everything basically.
exactly. And also, you're not really creating anything new per se,
Mm.
if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. But the cool part is you can dive into many other fields. So there's that
Yeah.
aspect, and I don't hate that, but it's
Mm.
ultimately it won't be my first choice.
Mm.
Going back now, but maybe I would. But if I know what I know now, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm going into AI. When my brain was
There
still
was no
fresh, when my
AI
brain
back
could still yes.
then.
You telling me that somebody did not know that we were going to build AI? Let me tell you something. If
Okay, you
I
would have
was
studied computer science,
Okay.
is what you're saying.
I couldn't. My parents would
So
not tell me they
so
were not allowed.
th- th-
But
so
that would
this
have
is
also
something
because
that
I would
I
have loved what
forgot
you have
to
done. I
add.
would have lied too.
Wait,
Uh,
Bella.
I forgot to add this. The reason why I picked electrical engineering was I knew like I wanted to do something computers, right? About computers. I liked computers.
Mm.
But
Mm.
in University of Lagos then, it was electrical engineering stroke computer engineering. So it
Interesting.
was in your final year, they lumped it together. And then in your final year, you will now specialize either you want to specialize electrical engineering or computer engineering. Right. So
Mm.
that's the only
hmm.
reason why I decided. And like in hindsight, I'm happy I because electrical engineering is not for me. Or wasn't for me.
Wow, that's so funny. So
And
this is interesting.
I didn't need to go. No, unfortunately, just how the world is. I didn't need to go to study electric computer engineering to know like about computers.
Mm.
Of
So
course.
yeah.
Mm.
I didn't even have enough exposure to computers. You've just brought up a memory for me when I was in primary school. then computers were not common, and they brought this one computer to our
Yes.
school. And I went to what you would consider, like, at that time it was a good school. There was one computer, and the only exposure we had was to come in and type our names. Back then, when computers, like, there was no Word, Microsoft Word
Yeah.
per se. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
blue screen,
No,
and
no.
then there would be
There's
a
you.
that was it.
There.
We are showing our
I
age
went
right
No,
now.
there.
I don't think there were
You,
there were, there
The,
were no mouses then even.
I
I don't
don't
think
even
there was a
know,
ah,
mouse then.
but I
yours was
was
before
Yeah.
the mouse creation of mouse. You
no, no, no. There
something
was
Yeah.
a
No. No.
mouse. There was
So
a mouse. There was a mouse then. But they were like, type
okay,
your
there
name.
was a
So I was
mouse.
typing my name. Obviously, I'm not used to the keyboard. So I make a mistake while I'm typing. And I'm trying to erase. And the teacher is like, no, your time slot is done. Next.
you see the way
I
they were
hope
adding it. You
Okay.
think
I hope that teacher I hope that teacher is living her life now, because I need to know what she's doing with the computer time that she took away from me. I want to know
that
what she did with all
Okay.
that time.
imagine
So
they thought
same thing for me. My
you
school,
were
my
doing
school also
revolutionary.
had so my school also had one computer, but my dad was always a computer person, right? So in my house
Mm,
we had two computers, right?
nice.
So
Yeah,
even though
I
he
was
didn't he
saying
didn't like he didn't really let us play with it.
Mm,
Like he would just say, "Watch me," but just
mm,
watching him, I knew this is. I liked this. I knew
yeah,
this is. So in school, when I would do things, people are just like, "Ugh," because I
yeah.
had like
Biola
I had
was
it at
turning
home
all
kind
the
of thing.
girls in school with his computer skills.
It is computer.
Congratulations.
Okay. So Biola, are you happy you studied engineering? I think you've answered that, right? Like, picture happy.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't
Yeah.
like yeah, I would still have done like what so now I'm in media and what I would have just done if I was going to make any changes would be like holidays and all, I would have just done my media on the side.
Mm,
But
yeah.
I would have continued with engineering.
Would
I
you have
like
still
even now
selected
I'm
the
trying
same
to
form of engineering? Sorry to interrupt.
no, no.
Aha,
In
I
hindsight,
think that's
no,
ultimately what it is.
no,
Because
no.
if I'm saying something, I think for when I listen to D talk, right, and as much as I believe that she did took the scenic route to where she ended up being, obviously I experienced in those scenic routes, mindset and her ability right now are she was building up to who she is today. She's a product of who she is today, right?
Mm,
And that thing that I ultimately believe is that while I do not think she took the smoothest route, I still believe that taking that engineering route, why I don't think the PhD was necessary. I think she just
mm,
liked the idea of going to a fancy school because she's fancy like that. But anyways, the fact that she could have gone into engineering management, could have gone into now I feel like there's more diversity in engineering than it was
yeah.
us when we were growing up.
Yeah,
And I think,
true,
Yeah.
yeah,
true,
but
true,
yeah,
true.
I think
ultimately,
maybe in a way we suffered from like a lack of information. Like, there was, the access to information we have now. I genuinely don't think we had them even 5 years ago.
No,
Like, it's still a lot more
yeah,
now
don't
than it was 5 years ago.
yeah,
So you
it's yeah.
your decisions were driven
Imagine
by what you
20, 15,
knew.
20 years ago. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
I believe that's correct, but I also believe that it's also a thing of our parents, our culture.
yeah,
The Nigerian
yeah,
culture back then was very even if you were the best soccer player, you would never experience it.
yeah.
You will never get to
You'll
actually
never
like
achieve
live.
your
yeah,
You will
yeah,
potential.
never
yeah. True.
because your parents will tell you to
I,
go
I, I,
play.
I
Yeah.
And I'm
joke
not saying that
about
it's a bad
this,
idea.
but no, but let's be fair, right? So my mom actually I I didn't really believe it until I saw like all the medals she got. My mom was into athletics, right? And
Mm,
she used to run for then they called it the old Western region, right? She was
yeah,
that good. But it was affecting study, it was affecting school. Because they didn't
yeah,
have like a plan for you if you are
yeah,
going to represent the school and
yeah,
the region. And then she had to
yeah.
drop it. So the reasons why they did that then was because it wasn't seen as a pathway to actually
Money,
like have money.
success, which now begs the question:
So
in our culture, money
What is
is the only
success?
deciding factor. Ultimately, in
Yeah.
what you study growing up, there is no enjoyment, there is no
okay,
happiness,
wait.
there is no what you
I
love.
agree. I agree. But the thing is this: the society we live in now, you can make maybe you may not be the richest person, but you can make some money following your passion.
Yeah.
There's a difference
Yes,
between making some money and making no money.
And I will
Mm-hmm.
say this now. I will say this now. I will say this now.
Simple.
I will say this now. If growing up now, you wanted to be a tailor, your parents are not supporting your dream to be a tailor. I will tell you, and I'm not done. Let me finish
They'll
now.
beat the shit out of
If
you.
bruh, if your parents have
Ayo,
supported you to
first
be a
and foremost,
tailor, be
don't
patient,
say
Bella, let me
tailor.
finish.
Please,
Bella, let me
please,
finish.
please say fashion designer, please. Please say fashion
No,
designer.
no,
I'm
no.
not
I
going to
use
stop
tailor for a
if you say
reason. Be
fashion
patient.
designer.
I use tailor for a reason. Let me land. Let me cook. You wanted to be a tailor, ne? Your parents will not have supported you to be a tailor. Even if
Yeah.
you were, firstly,
Right.
as a guy, you can never be a tailor. As growing up in our time, it's not possible. Are you mad? So you could never be a tailor. But let's even say that you wanted to be a tailor, ne? As a time. If they have supported you, who knows? You could have been the greatest tailor in the history of Nigeria.
That's
You
true.
could have actually been creative. You could have, if you, from a young age, you get my point, right? If you had learned the skill
Mm-hmm.
from a young age, you could
I
have
hear
done
you.
so
I
much.
hear you. I hear you.
But
Yeah.
and you could have made money off that because ultimately, right? If you were somebody where your product was so high quality, because not only did you add that old like add that was all you dedicated your life into, but your designs were also speaking for you, you could have
Mm.
been special. But
Yeah.
no, that
You had
tailor
to be
now
like everybody else.
is suffering being a doctor. And now he's taking it out on his kid, beating it up because he's unhappy. And even now, he's not even a successful doctor. Patients are dying because when he's sewing them, he's dreaming about sewing clothes.
No, no, no. He's
you know,
sewing. He's sewing. He's doing operations and sewing.
He's doing
you
You
know,
know.
pattern in your art.
So
He's doing pattern on your art. You're like, God
you
forbid.
know what? You know what? This is an
I'm actually going
interesting
to
thing
ask my
because
doctor, ne? If this is what he was always wanted to do growing up, I will just bring it up casually in the conversation while I am with
you
him.
do you know what's interesting is when I was in high school, I enjoyed writing and I used to write a lot of short stories. I'll get, those printer papers from my mom's office and I'll staple them and I'd write the whole story and
She could have
distribute
wow.
them to
created
my
Harry
Okay.
Potter.
classmates.
She
So
could
I
have
was
created
like,
Harry Potter.
when I
That's
started
his new
reading
policy.
Chimamanda years later, was when I knew that it would have been possible to be a writer. I
Yeah,
didn't
Possibility
know
but
to
then.
be, but
even right now,
the
she's writing
possibility,
policies.
yeah,
Do you
you
see the video? By the way, have any of you seen that meme where the young pastor be like, that's why they call you baby?
Hope. Can I prophesy? This is the reason why your parents named you Hope. It's because they lost like two kids. And you're the last born before you. And now it's like everywhere you go, yeah, in South Africa, your nickname is Baby. Baby, exactly.
Now I thought I just had that moment, and now she's writing policy, but she always wanted to be a writer.
Anyway, so I asked you guys to take a test about
yes,
what your ideal career would be. So it's the Princeton review test. I don't think it's the most
yeah,
accurate test because it just gives you like a list. And
No,
yeah,
let me
when we
talk about
discuss in
my
our
own.
next episode, I will tell you why this like a similar test was the first sign for me as an adult that I was supposed to change my career. But that's for our next episode. But anyway, let's what were your results? I have mine here. Who wants to go first?
I'm green. I'm green, and they said I should be working in the music industry. Entertainer. They were done, by the way. I don't know how that came to be.
it's
I
based
said
on
a
your
lot of things about engineering.
answers now.
Biola, let me tell you something. I don't know myself. I said a lot of things about engineering, but I would never, I have never seen myself as a as a music entertainer. You know why? But I answered it that way. They asked me, "Is it easy for you to make friends, and do you find it?" I said no. I mean, is it? I said no. So when I said no, then in their mind, I'm the type of person that will be going out and entertaining people just
Yeah,
because I
because you
said
don't
that
need
I
to
can
make
argue my
friends.
ideas. With friends, I told you, by the way, in that statement that I made about growing about why I choose engineering, didn't I tell you that I made a best friend? Why don't you ask me how many friends I still have?
Just that one
You know how
friend.
many times? You know how many times my friends that are from outside of the country, we travel to the country. I said, let us meet up. And I will come up with the greatest, it's not even a great excuse. Don't let me lie. I'll come up with a shitty excuse and I'm doing nothing. I have no reason to lie, and I'm lying.
So so wait, let me just say people I'm just going to read on from the test. It says people with green interests like job responsibilities and occupations that involve persuasion, sales, promotions, and group or personal contact.
Me,
People with green
sales, God
interests
forbid.
enjoy activities that include motivating, mediating, selling, influencing, consensus building, persuading, delegating authority, entertaining, and lobbying. These interests
Biola,
often
have
lead
I
to
ever
work.
lobbied you to anything?
You sound
Have I
like someone
said
who
you on
would be a
anything?
good, you sound like a good lobbyist, though. These
Ah,
interests
to be
often
fair,
lead to
I
work
can do I
in
can do a good job.
marketing, advertising, training, therapy, consulting, teaching, law, and public relations. So that's you. Biola, what was your
I'm
color? And what was the job?
Sounds
What kind of
yellow.
jobs did you get?
So yellow, I got like
Mm,
accounting, doing working in like an advertising firm as a manager. Yeah,
nice.
things like that. Tax. So
Okay.
yeah,
Should I read what
everything.
people with
And it was
yellow
straight
styles
for
perform
them.
their job responsibilities in a manner that is orderly and planned to meet a known schedule. They prefer to work where things get done with a minimum of interpretation and unexpected change. People with a yellow style tend to be orderly, cautious, structured, loyal, systematic, solitary, methodical, and organized, and usually thrive in a research oriented, predictable, established, controlled, measurable, orderly environment. You will want to
Bella, you said
choose
you like to be controlled. You like to be dominated. That's what I
no,
used
no,
to.
controlled, like the environment doesn't change much, and everything is to order. You will want to choose a work environment or career path in which your style is welcomed and produces results. So okay, so for me, I got green as well, but the jobs that stood out to me that it said I could do were diplomat or foreign service officer, which is
I
something
had
I've
that one too.
already.
I just picked the entertainment one. I think green.
Yeah,
I think there was like list of 20 to 25 jobs.
yeah,
I just thought
exactly.
the music engineering one was just really stupid
Yeah.
enough
So
that
I
I was
used
like,
to
and
be
I
a I worked as a diplomat, so I get that, and I really enjoyed it because it was fun. A
look at you. You
consultant,
switch
I
jobs just
enjoy
at
problem
the right time.
solving. The one thing I wouldn't do is become a politician because I just feel like the stress of it is intense. But there's
I
also
thought about it also.
investment banker, which is something that I thought like I thought I would do at some point, but I just never really got the information that I needed to do it. But yeah, that's it. So that was fun. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
yeah.
I mean, clearly
So
Ayo disagrees with his results because he lied on the
Oh,
questions.
no, no, no.
Um,
I didn't
but
lie. I just said clearly I did not know myself as well as I thought I did when I was answering and I got the result that I got. I didn't lie.
yeah.
It
so
wasn't a lie. It was just like, all right.
All right.
anyway,
Thank you guys
guys,
Yeah.
very much for joining us. And we'll see
thank you.
you next time around.
What career are you doing now? What did you study? Are you doing what you studied? Let
Mm-hmm.
us know.
Do you even like
You know,
what you studied? Do you want to continue? Would you switch careers now? How old are you? Maybe we can switch together.
how
Because I'm also
many how
old.
many of you are doing what mommy and daddy said you should do?
Oh, you guys are so
Clearly,
you just this is such a
we all
Debbie
did it.
Downer line of questioning. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching.
I
Please
think we
don't
are
forget
looking
to
for allies.
subscribe.
We
Don't
are
forget
looking
to
for allies.
subscribe
Just like,
and to share with
subscribe. Yeah.
friends and to like our new
And tell us what you
channel.
think about this new channel.
And if you're a
Yeah.
Tell us what
Maverick
you
fan,
think.
let us know how you are feeling. Like you are feeling like me.
Okay, we don't really care about that, but thank you so much.